So the way I see my life is like, my life is a mission. And what I really want to talk about right now is how I have this idea of a tribe that I'm building. And you really have to understand is like my story, my story starts with family. That's huge for me. And so essentially what I'm talking about is how I came from a tribe, and ultimately all my story is coming from that tribe, becoming who I am on my own, who I am just myself, right? On top of who I am coming from a tribe, and being this person now, who I am on my own, I want to build a tribe. Okay. And I think like what's super important, like just to make it kind of simple, right, is that I had been working on personal development for so long. So for myself, just thinking about how do I become a better version of me so that I can produce a great life for myself, right? And that's personal development. But ever since I was a kid, I always had in mind that one day I would grow up and be the man of the house. I would grow up one day and become the father and start this new family, right? And so I always had in my mind I would start my own little family. But I had came from a family with parents, great childhood, great household, and that family came from their own family. Like my two parents came from their own families is what I mean to say. So it's kind of like my little family was a part of a greater family, an extended family. And we were really close. We always got together for like all different types of special occasions. It got to the point where we'd be like, 60, 70 people deep in a house. I wouldn't be surprised like if we had started to reach like 100 guests in somebody's home because we were celebrating Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter. Sometimes even like birthdays could get that big. So, and the thing is, it's not like you have somebody, it was just a bunch of us. So just to give you like a quick context here, like my grandmother had, she was a part of a family of 12. So that all them siblings have kids, and all of them raising their kids here in like LA area, and we're all really close. A lot of us are from San Pedro. So you've got people who are growing up here, the immigrant generation that's raising them here, and then they're all having kids, right? And I'm a part of that generation. And so we are all just growing up not knowing anything different, not knowing anything else, but this is how we live. We go to these big family parties, okay? So that's kind of the picture you have to have of this boy Eli who's growing up. And even at that age, he's thinking at some point he's gonna start his own family, bring in his kids, and we're gonna join and be a part of this thing. The sad part of the story is that this big united family wouldn't look the same in the years to come. So as I'm growing up, eventually I move away to college, okay? That in itself is a big change in all the dynamics of it. Like, well, just me being gone, I'm not seeing it, but like just the idea of people who kind of move on with their life, right? For me, I was going to college and starting my adulthood. And for other people, it may be similar, like, hey, an individual is kind of starting their own life, or it might be kind of just like the micro families are moving in different directions, or there's time conflicts, right? Like we have, like let's say in my family, it's my side of the family and my wife's side of the family. And so there's special occasions coming from both sides. And so if we have like a birthday party from one of my nephews on my wife's side of the family, then that comes on the same day as something that's over here on this side. Now we got to choose, or we got to split up the time, or split up our family. How do we do this thing? So all those complexities get thrown into the mix, and it becomes really, really challenging to keep this big, huge, united family together. So naturally, people kind of start going their separate ways a little bit, right? I'm away to college, and I kind of sense that this is happening, but there's nothing like coming back into the area, back into my hometown. There's nothing like coming back to finding the people, feeling the love. But but the honest truth is that it was sad and disappointing to see that what I thought was real love and genuine, and I think it was, not that I doubt that it was at that time, it's just that it wasn't enough, that all that love wasn't enough, or it wasn't the real thing that I wanted, that I really wanted permanently. So what I thought I was looking at is what I wanted permanently. Then later on to realize, okay, that wasn't there, but something was moving us towards it, right? And so I always look at the older generations, and the dream that they had about the family that they wanted to build is what I was living through. But as their leadership would dwindle, then their ability to maintain that dream would dwindle as well. So it was almost like I got to experience all the greatness of somebody else's dream, and then realize that there was no Passover, there was no handoff, there was no leadership to succeed that. Succession plan is the idea. It's kind of tough, like I'm holding back some passion because I really want to let out what it really feels. It feels like the family didn't have it together, and there was kind of let down. And I'm just being honest about where my feelings were about that, because today I'm talking about my feelings, and I'm speaking honestly about what really motivates me in the bigger picture, because I came from that and thought I was moving towards that. And I had to realize early in my adulthood this big like realization, this hard truth to accept that, oh man, the thing that I thought I came from, that I wanted to move towards, is the thing that I didn't actually come from, and I'm not moving towards it. It was a confusing thing, but at least I knew something was still driving me. I was trying to become the best version of myself so that I could be the best leader for my micro family, be the best version of me that I can be for my kids, right? So personal development, so then I can be a great leader for my family. And if I'm doing well for my family, we're going to keep growing and getting stronger, and this family is going to fit into this bigger community, right? Me doing personal development is a great impact to my family, and the impact I have to my family makes us stronger, and the better we become as a family, the impact we can have on other people around us, the community. So this sense of community was always there, and it was always attached to the work I was doing that was for myself. My self-interest and my love for my family, my love for people beyond my family, is all connected. It all belongs a part of the same thing. It sits in the same basket that I'm carrying around with me in my whole life. So to me, they are not different. They're the same thing. This is my life mission. You understand that? My life mission is to continually get better at anything I do, to continually make myself better, to show up better for my family, so that my family can show up for the greater community. Damn. Right? So that's what I'm going through. That's what it means to me when I think of tribe. I'm looking for my tribe. And I know I come from family. I know I have a lot of people that I think is my tribe, right? But I really have to see that and feel that. And since I want to step up as a leader, then I have to really make that tribe visible to everybody who's supposedly in the tribe. How do I have somebody I consider a part of my tribe and they don't see it that same way? So what I would like to do is to really stand up for this. Now with time scarcity, and essentially there's not really energy scarcity, but there's like manpower. It doesn't have to be man. I know the word is manpower, but the idea is just having enough people, personnel, to put in work. That's what a tribe is. That's what community is for. We got to be there for each other. So having enough people that can put in work, having a team, right? Productive people in the tribe is what I'm trying to say. As well as like the time scarcity factor that each person has to deal with, right? Is another factor. So how you manage yourself as an individual is what we're also talking about. But essentially, I need to serve that purpose. And I also realized that in serving that purpose, we're looking for like that mutual support, because me pushing myself to serve that purpose is making me better, and it's giving me fulfillment. To see the thing being accomplished is giving me fulfillment. And to see that other people would want to pitch in to build that is like one of the most amazing things, because now the thing that I'm working on ends up benefiting me, because somebody else contributing to the thing allows the thing to keep going. And when I need the tribe to serve me, it's there. So I just see this thing as making a whole lot of sense. What is it exactly? Because so far what I'm talking about is all abstract, right? And before I get into some of the specific things, I want to make it clear that it's like anybody who is reluctant to work with me, trust me, have the conversation, he thinks I'm too abstract, too like up in the air for it to be worth it for you. I'm gonna tell you that you will not be an early adopter. You just will not be that type of person. You will find your opportunity to get in later. And it's fine, but it's not the same, right? So I'm speaking to an early adopter. Don't put yourself in that seat if you don't truly think that way. I'm not saying this because I have a bone to pick with the person who does so, because the person who does so will eventually see how they are self-eliminating, right? Because ideally what you would do is you would just go through frustration, trying to sit in that seat, like if you're interested, but you truly do not let yourself be open to that. Why does this happen? This happens because we are conditioned to work for money. Because all of us in the rat race, we have to work for money. This shit was set up before we got here. And so my parents were born into this game, and we have to work in this civilization, right? Our families came from a different country to be here, and at least if you play the game in America, it's actually worth it. That's the idea. That's why our families came to this country, okay? Now we're here. I'm a second generation Mexican American, and what I see, right, is that we don't necessarily have to have this like enslavement dynamic. Crazy, huh? Yeah, it's the idea is like modern day slavery is a term being used to reference the situation that many people find them in today due to the economy that is comparable to slavery, right? In slavery, you had people who couldn't choose, who didn't have any freedom at all. They were owned as property, so maybe they could choose some things in life like, I'm gonna step with my left foot first and then my right foot second. I don't know. There were some things that you could decide as a slave, but in principle, you were not actually able, you don't have the power to decide anything for yourself, right? So horrible, extreme case of limits on freedom. And today, since it's not so extreme, we feel like, okay, we're free and we are not in that slavery. But the term modern day slavery refers to the economic situation a person, many people find themselves in, where it's like, I don't really get to choose what I do because I have to, in order to like live in society and like not live in society, like be homeless, right? But like have a home, first of all, that costs money, like $1,000 at least. And some, depending where you are, right? This could be like $2,000 a month. So you have to make enough money to pay for a place to live, to pay for food. And of course, if you don't choose to do those things, there's another route, but typically that means you're homeless. That means you're like always depending on people and you're just like hoping that you can survive and be alive another day. It's crazy. I don't think any of us are thinking that that's a real option. Some people go that route. You know, and that's a whole nother topic that I'm not trying to get into because in my tribe, it wouldn't be necessary. Who wants to live like that? Is it that you would rather live in nature? You know, I don't think so. I think that nobody in our tribe would have the option to be housed and be fed and live a nice, how do you say it? Like, I don't want to say comfortable necessarily because it's not always about comfort, but it's just like having your basic needs met. And if you had the choice, I think everybody in my tribe would choose to have it instead of, I'm good. I know I have a choice, but I'm good. I want to live in the struggle and live on the street. If you don't want to live in nature, we can find a good place for you to live in nature. But to live near the city in like desert type climate doesn't make sense. So don't live around here in Southern California if you're not trying to be housed, unless you're gonna live over there in the parks and stuff. But like, don't live here. You're living here around civilization because you like the little benefits. You can pick up on food, you can pick up on tools, supplies, you can find things around because that's what civilization does for you. So essentially, that's just not a route. Like, I'm spending a little too much time already talking about it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit because some people have felt so desperate with their economic situation that they're like, fuck it, I don't have to live that civilized life, and I will figure out how to do it from the streets. It's sad, but it happens, okay? And I think that in my tribe, people will have the option so that they don't have to do that. And when they see that option, they will choose it all the time, every single time. There's another tribe that can be built that lives in nature, or that lives from the streets, I guess. But there's a lot of problems that can be had when you are that tribe building in the streets. So I don't think it's necessarily the right way to do it. If you don't want to live this civilized life, then just move out away from the city completely. Get out of here. Don't be around here and be homeless and be a bum and all that. Not because I don't have compassion that I use that word, but you're kind of a fucking bum. If you don't have what it takes to go live in real nature, and you're just kind of sticking around to live in the streets, and you don't care what kind of problems that might cause to other people. What problems does it cause if I'm not bothering anybody? Maybe you haven't thought about it enough, but if you care about the community, you can talk about it, right? So it's just all of these things that is tough to work through. But if I'm thinking about it and I'm talking about this stuff on my tribe, what I'm figuring out is that essentially we need like to cover people's basic needs. We need to do that. And I know there's all these political ideas like communism or universal basic income or something like that it's called. UBI, yeah, universal basic income just means that the government would pay like a certain amount of it. Everybody gets this income, small little income, and that's for your basic needs. And so that just makes sure that everybody can survive. And the people argue, that's a good idea for many different reasons. People argue, of course, against it. So that's a whole topic. And so the people are talking about these things, and I only bring it up in my tribe because I want to make it clear that there's people who want to figure this out. There's people who don't care to figure this out. Maybe their life is already good enough for them. Some people have a good life. Some people have a great life, and they still want to figure this out. And that's us and my family. We have a great life, but we want to figure out how to build a tribe. And that's different. That gives us a different way of living than just being a family, a part of just this society. Like, I have people on the block that I don't talk to. Are they my community because we live near each other? Yeah, essentially they are, like my local community. We are. We don't talk to each other. In my tribe, I want to have that connection with people. And I guess it doesn't have to be that they live near me, but what's important is that connection. And I guess the most important thing, if you hear what I'm talking about, like with modern day slavery, you feel like you don't have the freedom to really live the life you want to live because you got to work for money, and working for money takes a whole lot of your time. So by the time you're done with your job, and by the time you're done with feeding yourself, sleeping, showering, doing all your basic stuff, you really don't have much time for anything else. So because of time scarcity, you lack freedom. That's what modern day slavery is about. And plenty of people, I think, would want to be a part of a tribe that's helping them escape that. That's what I'm going to be building here. Now, the real wealth, though, I know a lot of people are thinking about wealth as the way to do this, but the real wealth is in health. So one of the most important things that I see me doing for my tribe is bringing healthy lifestyles. And I think one thing is just seeing the options, say, hey, that's a way to live, and it's a healthy lifestyle. The way I'm living now is not necessarily like a bad lifestyle. It's just a lifestyle that's not based on being healthy. And so a healthy lifestyle like this option here that Eli is showing is a way to live. And in reality, what Eli is showing is not that here's the healthy lifestyle, like this is the only way or something, but here's what I do for my healthy lifestyle. And each person's got to have their own healthy lifestyle, but just kind of understanding what that means in general is the start to then you understanding what that means for yourself as an individual. So it's important to have that discussion. I think like having the family, like I give examples of my family. My family doesn't always eat the healthiest. Like my parents do kind of think about that stuff a little bit, so they regulate, and throughout the year they'll have time periods that they're just eating really healthy, but then they have time periods they let themselves splurge. They do it in a sense, right, to a degree because of where their values are and like how it became important to them. I know a lot of other people could relate to my parents because they notice that they're getting a little heavy or something, they're saying, hey, I need to you need to lose some weight. Is what I think is the most famous phrase used, and by my people at least. But it's like, oh man, I need to lose some weight, you know? And so everyone kind of knows what you got to do. You got to eat less, work out to lose some weight. But one important thing that you learn along the way whenever you're trying to lose weight or like look better for the summer, or get ready for that wedding, fit into the dress, whatever it is. But one thing we learn is what is healthier, not just eat less, but also what is healthier and the healthier choices. We typically kind of know what it is. So like vegetables and fruits are really good. It's really good to get a lot of protein, right? Be careful with all the processed foods. Like a lot of breads are actually processed, and some breads are not considered like the processed foods. So pick the right breads, and still be careful with it. But the idea is that like you just gotta stay away from the unhealthy foods, and then try to eat the healthier foods. If losing weight really is that important, then yeah, you also have to eat less, right? But these things are like are stuff that we kind of know, and then we kind of learn along the way as we find good reasons to learn them. But still, what hurts us the most is not necessarily about knowledge, right? And motivation and execution, but it's about environment and community. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times we are not being too intentional with what we eat, and that's because it just doesn't get fit in. The intentionality around what we eat does not get fit in. The intentionality around a lot of other things has to be there. And so we say, just can't do it. Just can't do it. Now, let me tell you something. If you had the environment, if there was a community, if you're a tribe, every time you went to a special occasion with family, like birthday parties, holidays, anything like that, any celebrations, anytime you went to work and people at work have food to share, anytime you went anywhere with the people you engage with in your life, everyone's eating healthy stuff and everyone's taking time to go exercise. Everyone's dealing with their mental health. Like, if everybody has those influences, you just like don't have a way out in a good way. You don't have a way out of a healthy lifestyle, right? The reason why we get stuck in unhealthy habits, unhealthy practices, right? Less than healthy lifestyles is because the influence is there, the environment is there, and it's always with the people. Now, let me explain something that's really, really tough that I watch all the time. You have a group of family members, and I'm just gonna keep it blunt, y'all. I'm gonna keep it blunt. I don't know, this is people in my family, straight the fuck up. This is people in my family, this is people in your family, this is everybody has seen this group of people, and they're all fat, and they're sitting together, and maybe they're even eating at the moment, and they're talking about how this eating may be further contributing to something that they don't like, which is them being fat, and they need to lose weight, right? And maybe it's good for them to talk about it because they're in the same boat, they're in it together, right? Maybe they can work together and encourage each other to make a difference, okay? Maybe them talking about it and like sharing their challenges, like the struggle, like they can relate with each other, empathize, and that creates a sense of community. But they would need to be serious about making a change for that to actually be productive for change, instead of just kind of being there. Because essentially, right, when you're fat and you don't feel good about yourself, that's going to affect your mental health big time. Okay, if you have ever been in that situation, or if you're in that situation right now, then you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm not making this up and I'm not going to explain it anymore. But if you are fat and you don't feel too good about it, right, you could be trying to be body positive and stuff, and other people are just like not letting you, right? You're trying to do everything you can to not let that affect you, but other people's thoughts still lead you to feel bad about it. Whatever it is, right? If you feel bad about it, it's going to affect your mental health, okay? And so now when you have the group of cousins who are all fat and they're sharing their struggle with each other, they are empathizing with each other. And so maybe that's good for their mental health. Maybe the mental health issue that they're dealing with from being fat and not being able to fix that is maybe that's being helped by them sitting together and sharing their struggle, okay? In this example, which I've seen, a lot of positivity can rush through there. Like, body positivity is a great thing, right? Love yourself even if you're fat right now. And love yourself even if You're fat right now, but you want to get skinny, and now your body's going to be changing. So you're going to have to love yourself at every stage of this changing process. Okay? And some people change drastically, some people change gradually. Nonetheless, you should love yourself and love your body no matter how it looks at every single stage, because loving yourself doesn't rely on some criteria about how you look. You know what I mean? Loving yourself is that no matter how you look good to yourself. That's body positivity. And it is harder to do it. When you're fat and people don't reinforce that idea that you look good, it's harder to do it. It's harder to feel good about how you look. Okay? When you're in shape, in good physical shape, like I've been working out for years, I had plenty of great influences when I was growing up to stay healthy. So I had a lot of things going well for me, and I continued. I fell off. I got fat. I got fat too. I was about to say I never fell off. Mentally, I never fell off, but physically, I got fat for a period of time. And I got right back because of everything, all the foundation, everything I already had going. So my point is if people are constantly reinforcing the idea that I look good and that I should feel good about looking good, like, it makes it easy to love myself and love my body. So if you're fat, you're gonna have a harder time with that, and that's super important to address. If you don't want to change your physical appearance, but you have came to a place with body positivity in your life that you can love your body and be fat, and you're like, I don't really need to change, then you really don't have a mental problem, you know? And I really don't care to change your opinion about you wanting to be fat or not. But I will still say that you need to be healthy, okay? And so that is not necessarily about your weight, but it can be, because if you are overweight, that can cause problems for your health. And if you don't know about that, you should look into it. And if you want me to help you understand and learn more about that stuff, I will. I can. I'd appreciate it if you tell me, so I know that you are watching this right now and I can continue to help you. I will. Actually, I'll help you one-on-one in a private environment. If you want it confidential or whatever, like, I am literally here trying to build a tribe because I want to help. I want to see who is looking to build this thing. And if I could help you with the thing that you need help with, at some point, I'm going to need your help, and you will be more than willing to help me, because that's tribe, you know? So that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm speaking blunt, because I want to cut right to that chase and say, hey, look, building healthy lifestyles is about eating right. It is about having enough movement in your life. It's about making sure your mental health, your emotional health is in a good place, right? And physically taking care of yourself in certain ways, like grooming. I need to cut my nails. My nails got a little too long. I'm saying, so like, one thing I would want to do is meal prep service. Like a meal, I know there's businesses out there doing it, but it looks like not everyone's jumping on it. Is it cheaper to, what is it? Is it cheaper to cook your own food at home? Is it more, it's not more like time efficient. Someone else cooks the food for you, has it prepped up, the meal prepped up or measured out already. Like, that's more efficient with time. So it saves you the energy. It's more convenient. It's got to come down to the money. It's got to come down to the money, or like choice, because meal prep service, maybe like you're choosing the food ahead of time that you're going to be having. Some people don't want to be committed in advance to what they'll be eating. They want to decide right before the meal what they're going to eat. So either that choice, wanting to have a choice right before the meal, or instead of having to plan in advance what you're going to be eating, that or the money to pay for getting the help is the reason why people don't do it. But I did see, it's called Sunday meal service, or Sunday meal prep service, something like that. What I was thinking was, it was cheap. It was super. You could get a deal that was like $5 per meal or less, right? And you buy in bulk. It sounds really good. Like, the money shouldn't be the issue in that case. Is it not good enough? That's the other thing too, is that people would say, Okay, meal prep service usually, okay, we're trying to eat healthy. And people will usually, I think, be like, the healthy food doesn't taste that good. So I'm not willing to do it. Like for my tribe, I want to make sure like you like it. So I want you to be like, oh, this thing is bomb. I want to eat this one. You're not even thinking like, oh, it's healthy. I have to eat it because I'm trying to be healthy. I want you thinking like, this shit is fucking bomb. Like I want that one more than the other ones. So I want it to taste good and I want it to be healthy. But most importantly too, like I want to help you get to a healthier lifestyle without having to learn so much and think so much about it and, you know, break your head, fucking give you a headache on it. And also like having to do this extra work, add this whole extra thing in your life where you got to be the one to get the groceries and learn the recipes so you can cook it and spend the time cooking and spend the time cleaning. And it's a lot. We do it. And I'm going to be vlogging so you can see what it's like. But yeah, I want to just kind of like save you from that and be able to have this service that's affordable for you and you can get your meals and it tastes great and we have the options. So there's businesses that are out there. Maybe there's something I can do with them to just make sure I'm serving my tribe. But that's like an idea for bringing healthier lifestyles to my tribe. A meal prep service would be a great idea. Doing other things too would be very important, like being involved in the fitness space, maybe, and help people working out, getting movement, doing stuff that is around like wellness, not necessarily physical, but it's all connected, right? But being able to pay attention more to the mental, emotional health as well. What can I do there? It's this the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. If anybody who's listening to this wants to help build this tribe and you have ideas about how to make healthier lifestyles, how to help people, or if you have an idea of what could help you, or if you feel very clearly like I have something missing and I think a tribe could help me bring this into my life, whether it's getting healthier, whether it's about earning some more money so you have more financial health, financial security, whether it be about like spirituality and you kind of need to find more meaning in life, you're kind of feeling detached, demotivated, whatever it is that you're feeling, that you believe you can get from community, speak up about it, talk to me, all right? I'm serious here. I'm really, really serious. And the people I'm gonna have in my tribe are gonna be those people who want this to exist. So please let me know. That kind of just helps me get right to the project I should be working on. And the other piece to the whole thing is wealth and economy. And I'm gonna start to conclude soon here, but it's like having an economy where our tribe members can make the money. So we don't have to go and work for money by producing for outside institutions and then trying to bring back resources from those institutions, right? That relationship is a diversion from a commitment to the tribe. So essentially, what would be best is if people could make money and pay their bills by working in the tribal economy, right? What would that look like? For example, if we have a business that is the meal prep service, then you could have people who take up jobs in that meal prep company, right? That meal prep company is going to be designed and built up to serve the people in the tribe. And the people serving within the company are part of the tribe too. So it's an economy where we can have our tribal members working in the tribal companies and we're circulating the money within us and we don't need to be distracted, right? Our attention, our focus is here and we don't need our money to be distracted, diverting. How is it diverting? Well, we're paying other companies and we're getting jobs at other companies and we're trying to bring back the resources to build something for our families. I know I'm not the first person thinking of these things, but is there somebody in my life who's standing up and saying, hey, let's do this, that I can get behind? Because either my eyes are not seeing it or they're not there. So maybe if I just start talking about it, they'll show up if they've been there, or they'll start speaking up if they've thought this. So economy, we need our own economy. And yes, wealth is important. Each person can build their own wealth in the tribe the same way they can build wealth just in America. You know, as an individual, it all works the same. Same thing with families. Families build up wealth as a collective. That can happen, and they pass it down through generations. That can happen within the tribe too. Okay, this is not communism. If you want to talk about politics and how that's going to work in the tribe and all that stuff, talk to me. I actually went to college to study political science and to get these parts right. Okay, so it actually, everything for me starts there with how the power works, and then kind of gets caught up to what I'm working on now. But where we are is that the idea of wealth as individuals in for a family is its thing. The idea of wealth on a tribe is different and new, and that's why I'm bringing up wealth, is to just make it clear is that when the tribal economy is growing and it's being developed right by the tribal members pitching in to the tribal companies that are serving the tribal members, and you have that loop there, you're going to see a tribal wealth start to develop because the tribal companies are growing in assets, are growing in value. That's tribal wealth. Tribal wealth will be used to develop the tribe further. And that's how we will be able to provide for basic needs. Everybody's housing, everybody's food, all these things would be covered for all the future generations to come. Now, that leads me to just touch real quick on my career. I realized that it starts with me. As an individual, I need to figure out the economy for myself. And if I can build my company, I can build it in that direction of tribal economy. So if I can do that, then I got my family in the tribal economy. If I can do it with my family, other families would be willing to follow me, I think. And now we have multiple families in a tribal economy. That's where I'm going next. That's what I'm reaching out for. That's what all this content is really for. For me to work towards the tribal economy, because my grand future is a part of a tribe.